All right, it says that we are live. Hey, sunshines. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this special edition of Conversations with Selena. If this is your first time, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Selena, and I really am happy to have you part of our community. So we don't want to hold up any more time because we definitely want to respect the time. I'm going to just let you know that this is a special edition because it is 9:30, 2021, the last day of September, and we just couldn't let this month go out without acknowledging and coming live just to address Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. This is such a sensitive topic, so we just want to make sure that if you start to feel any type of way, step away from the computer because we're not medical doctors. That's our disclaimer. We're not medical doctors. We're here to inform and to give you our experiences and our knowledge of the suicide rates and the importance of you knowing that you're not alone. That's really the point that I'm trying to get to. You're not alone. There's help available. We're available if you ever need to talk or need any type of assistance. So we got a lot of information. You have a wonderful panel here in front of you, and I don't even want to keep them from you any longer. I want each and every one to introduce themselves, and then we are going to jump into a conversation reassuring you that you're not alone and giving you the information that we have and even examples, experiences, stories, testimonies. We have those available for you tonight. And it's just about being transparent. And so we just all going to take a deep breath, including Sunshine and Holy Spirit. There you go. All right, Minister Scott. Did I leave out anything? You got Sunshine's back.
I think you got it all. I have your back, absolutely.
Y'all all
And
do, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
absolutely. My name is Venner Scott. I am um, a I have my counseling in Christian counsel from Liberty University. Also, I am a licensed minister, pastored 14 plus years. So I've over the years have had quite a lot of experience in helping those that have been struggling in their position of suicide or discomfort, anxiety. I myself suffered. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. So I just wanted to introduce to the audience that I am Venner Scott, and yeah, I'm glad to be on the panel today. I think Ms. Rose, that was Ms. Rose.
Okay. All right, Miss Rose.
Hi, my name is Rosa Jackson Thomas, and I am too honored to be on the panel today. I don't know if I'll be able to stay very long, but I have another problem that has arose. My pastor is calling me to do something, but I do. I do is very passionate for me. This is a subject that I felt very passionate about, that I have been speaking with people and trying to encourage people. And so we just want to let people know that you're not alone in this, and that we all have gone through some things and still going through some things. And as I shared with Sister Selena, I know they said this is a time of the year when suicide seems to increase even more. And even hearing today when they said that they were paying tribute to the military men, 22 military guys, they say commit suicide each day. Oh my God, that was something that I did not know, but they talked about it on the news today. So we're just here to encourage each other and for us to stand together as one to let you know that you're not alone.
Thank you so much. All right, Miss Sheila.
Sheila Sullivan, I'm Gulfport, Mississippi. I am a member of Word of Power Ministries. I'm ordained evangelist, and also I work jail ministry at the Harrison County Jail. Each Sunday, we would go in for over 5 years. We'd go into the Harrison County Jail, and we would minister to the women in the jail. And you had to have some type of experience and be connected to a church in order to go there to minister to them. My own With my own testimony is I also struggle with suicidal ideation, thoughts, depression, loneliness, paranoid schizophrenia, just different things that have transpired in my own life. And I do have a passion to help others to understand that they are truly not by themselves, that there is someone that they can reach out to, and that for the most part that they really know that they are loved and they are needed, needed to be here, needed by their families, needed by their relatives or either children, and just do not want anyone to take their own life and miss out on the life that is before them.
Amen.
That because it does get better.
Yes, it does.
Amen.
All right, Dr. Whitehead.
I'm Ursula Whitehead, and I am a school counselor, an educator for almost 30 years now. I'm also an LPC and recently an LPC supervisor. Most of my experience has been in school counseling, working with kids, middle school, high school age kids mostly. And I've dealt with my fair share of suicidal ideation with kids, not able to adjust and adapt. And like Miss Sullivan was saying, feeling alone and rejected. It's very common in the schools, more than you would want to believe. And they need to know that they are loved and that we are here to support them and help them to get through what they're going through. I tell the students all the time, this is a very small part of your very vast life. If we can just get through this part, then we will be all right. So we just work together, and I work with the parents, and so that's been most of my experiences through the school setting. So yes, so it's a very important topic, and we definitely need to have this discussion.
Hi, I'm Benita Wynn. I
Yeah.
have a master's in rehab counseling, and I also am a licensed relief therapist. And I have a passion also for this because I've not dealt with suicide personally for me. However, I have been depressed, and depression will make you feel like you're dying. But
Amen.
I've also dealt with suicide from family members, and I've seen God do great things, bringing people out of and delivering them from suicide, allowing them to become all that He has called them to be. So I'm excited about being here with you all today to answer questions and give statistics for the state of Mississippi if needed on suicide.
Thank you so much for those wonderful introductions. I want to, just because Sister Rosa said that she may have to go, I want her to just share a little bit about what we did backstage, a little bit about her experience with suicide and volunteering, and just the information that she wanted to share before she has to get off.
Thank you, Sister Selena. Just as briefly, when I was doing the nonprofit program, when I did get an opportunity to share it with some of the youth, because it was targeted for the youth, and it was amazing that each time we had videos to show them that had young teenage actors and things in the videos talking about depression and talking about various things. And it was very well received by those that did see it. And the one thing that was always said at the end of the presentation is that a lot of them would say, wow, I've been depressed and I didn't really know it. So that is one of the things that really hit me, that a lot of people are going through depression and don't recognize what depression is, and how easily that you can be depressed and not know it. And so that was one of the takes that I got from it. And I would share with them that, anytime that you feel that way, and some of their home lives, they have siblings that they feel that they have to kind of like help out and things like this, which sometimes when they're battling with their problems, trying to help in the family makes it even harder for them. So this is something that I learned during the time that I presented it to some of the churches that did allow me to present it. And this is what we need to reach out to our young people to let them know that, hey, find someone that you can talk to. There's always someone that you can talk to. that will help you and encourage you to that you're not alone in this, and we can pray together and we can bring about a change in their lives. And so I just thank God for that. And that was my experience that I had. And as I stated, I was saddened by the loss of a cousin who was only about 22 years old. And he took his life. And so I kind of like went back to when I was presenting the program. We just need to get it out more to our young people to show them that, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing, because we all struggle with something.
We all struggle with something. That's true.
Yes.
Um, and some act out, try and fail, some succeed, but I believe that we've all, struggled in some area of our
Yes.
lives. May not have had those suicidal thoughts, but just have went through things that have been disappointing and depressing. And it's more than just the suicide, it's the mental health that leads up to it,
Yes.
and the feeling of hopelessness and feeling alone. So definitely, thank you so much for sharing that information about the youth and your role with them. So I appreciate you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. And thank you. And I'm sorry I had to get off, ladies, but thank God for you. And we're
I
going to
have a quick
continue.
question before she goes.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a quick question for you before you leave, Miss Rose. What is the name of the program that you all are trying to get set up in churches, just in case they have some pastors that may see or hear, and they may want to invite you in the information that you guys wanted to bring into the churches?
Well, Pastor, I'm no longer affiliated with that nonprofit group, and
Okay,
I think that program ended, and so
okay.
I no longer have that. But they were out of Gulfport, and the program did end because they only had it for a set time. So I wish it was still available,
Mm,
because I certainly tried to reach back out to them to see if anyone was still there, but no one was that I could not reach anyone. So the program did end that I was
mm.
affiliated with. But I'm praying that we can, after Selena told me about tonight, it's encouraged, because I'm hoping that maybe from this we could get something else going.
Okay.
That would be awesome. There's a lot of things working behind the scenes right now that'll be coming forth. So that's some awesome information.
Amen. Praise.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you all have a blessed night, ladies.
You too.
Thank
Good
Thank
you.
you
night.
You
so
also,
Good
good
to
night.
have met you. Mhm.
much. All right. So, Vinny, did you have anything that you wanted to share with us on tonight?
I did. For me, I did have my own battle with contemplating suicide at a time in my life. I was about 26 years old, and the thing for me is that I had begun to have I started my family very, very early. I was 17 years old when I had my first son. I was 20 years old when I had my daughter, the second one. Now, here are the ages. I was 21, about 3 months from making 22 when I had my third child. I'm in my 20s. I was 23 years old and I was 3 months from turning 24 when I had my fourth child. So I'm four kids in at the age of 24 years old, um, uh, living in a whole nother state from where my mom and my family were. I was in a city where I had a brother and my dad, and but I wasn't really close to uh, my dad that was on my birth certificate, and so we never had that relationship. So I was in this struggle. Just imagine. So my first husband and I were the same age. We're talking 20 something years old, and we're having four kids. Didn't know anything about parenting, and so we both struggled in the area of raising kids, trying to be. I mean, we're talking about a young man who was in college to for law school, okay, and me myself giving up my career of things that I had planned, or my parents had planned for me, starting my own family, being 20 something years old. Now we are raising four kids. We're both working. We're both going through, and then we're battling at each other because we both don't know how to be parents. We don't know how to be husband and wife. We had no both of our parents were divorced, so we didn't have uh, or for say set demonstration, so we didn't know. So we got into some things, both of us, growing up the way that we did. And believe me, we had a decent life, but in the same token, that was stress. That was a lot of stress on two young people at that time, four
Mm.
kids, house notes, car notes, all of these things. And it became much for me. I was in the church. I was my side of the family grew up Church of God in Christ, and in the Church of God in Christ. And this is nothing against no church, so don't get me in the midst of that. I'm not talking against Church of God in Christ, because that's my root, and I love my church. And so, but they taught me to stick it out when things are going bad in your relationship, when things are going bad in your house. They taught you to anoint your head, anoint your pillows, anoint the man, anoint the woman, anoint this. But we were never taught to face our issues. And so because we were not taught to face the issues, things got a little rough mentally for me, until one day I thought I had had enough. I said enough was enough, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I ended up taking a prescription bottle of Tylenol. I ran myself the hottest water that you can possibly run for yourself in a tub, and I also went boiled water and put it in a tub, because I had enough of life. I thought I had did all. I was a praying person. Get me right. I prayed. I was fasting. I would probably outfast anybody. I was fasting. I was praying. I was seeking the Lord. But there was something else that was happening inside my head that wouldn't allow me to be able to deal with my current situation. I went through mental and physical abuse. And so it did not allow me to deal with that in my mind. So I wanted, and I loved my little children. I had little babies, and but I did not want to deal with that situation anymore. So I took a full bottle of the medicine Tylenol, and I just went and laid in a tub. And I remember one of the kids coming in and telling their dad that mom was in the tub, and I was just sinking under in the tub. And he got me out of the tub, and I, I'm sure that he did some things to help revive me, because I'm still here today. But I remember that vividly. Um, did I feel bad about it afterwards? Yeah, but in the same token, I did not still get the help that I needed, from the people who I thought should have been there for me. And but through the grace of God, I was able to make it through that. And even that's why I guess I have such a heart of sitting down, listening, and hearing the heart of people when they say that they're tired and they can't take anymore. People struggle. They're struggling in the church. They're struggling, and I think I'll say that again. They're struggling inside of the church, and we want to pray it out. We want to cast it out, but some things comes out by counseling. Amen. And so we're not recommending our people to get the necessary counseling that they had. And so I was looking at, some stories, and I'm going to hurry up and get out the way because I have that preacher mentality. And so, but here's the thing. We don't talk about the fact that David wrote Psalms, all of these beautiful Psalms, and we quote them and we do this and that with the Psalms. But David was pretty depressed. There's
Yes.
a lot of his songs where he wrote and he talked to the Lord and he said things to the Lord about, he was battling deep depression. He was in despair. He would ask the Lord to take his lives, and all of these things. So
Mhm.
we got to let the people know that even people that you're reading about in the Bible, they struggled with depression. When you
Yes.
talk about when you think about Elijah, when Elijah ran and got under the juniper tree. When he got under that tree, he was in the state of depression. He ran, he hid, and he asked the Lord, I will that I should even die. These are things that we don't allow people to understand. We thinking about Jonah. When Jonah got into, well, he didn't want to do what the Lord wanted him to do. He ran. He got into um 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 and when the Lord allowed him to fall into the mouth of the big fish, he was depressed. That was a lot of depressed. And the words that they talk about, and that was one of the things that I want. When they talk about downcast, they're talking about anxiety and depressed. When they're talking about brokenhearted, these people was going through some
Hurting.
struggles. When they're talking about troubles,
Mhm.
miserable, and they talk about in despair when they're in mourning. These are words that's in the Bible that people just kind of overlook and don't want people to know that these people were going through some struggles in their mind. So
Mm-hmm.
they, if
Right.
we're gonna teach the Bible, if we're gonna teach the truth, then we need to let people know that. Talk about Job. My God, Job struggled. I mean, and his wife was so depressed. She said, "Why don't you just curse your God and then kill yourself?" So these are things that we have to understand, that we as Bible believers, we struggle,
Right.
and it's okay not to be okay. Because even now, sometimes I'm not okay. Shoot, I went and sat on my little cousin's couch, and next thing you know, I broke down because I was not okay. Even me, they Mama Benny, Apostle Scott, or whatever you want to call me. There's days when I am not okay.
Right.
I'll go sit on Bonita's and try to get me some free counseling. That don't go for everybody, but I go over there and give me some free counseling because you're not always okay. And it is okay not to
To
be
be
okay.
okay.
That's
Y'all,
right.
Very
y'all
well
move on.
said. Very
Go
well
ahead.
said. Mhm.
Oh, it is. It's okay. And I just want to say, I was listening last night to this young man. He was talking about his encounter, like his self-worth was in his job.
Mhm.
Like he was a perfectionist and
Yep.
he thought, this is it. If I'm successful in my job, then I'm worth something. Well, they had a merger and they end up letting him go. And that was like the end for him. And couldn't talk to his church. He couldn't talk to his wife. And like Mama Vinny, he had had enough. Like he had just went through and tried to push through and press on. And so the night before he was going to commit suicide, they were at the church and he went over to the room and he said, it's over, and he's planning it. Well, a man walks in and he says, "Oh, somebody notices me." And the man said, "Hey, have you seen my children?" And he said, "I'm not okay. I'm really not okay." And the guy said, "Oh, it'll get better," and left. And so his two choices: go after the man and say, "I need some help," or continue with his plans to commit suicide. So he continued with his plans to commit suicide and was interrupted the next day by someone else. And needless to say, he's here to tell his testimony. But when someone says, "I'm not okay,"
Not
we
okay.
need to pay attention. That
Amen.
needs to be a red flag, because a lot of times we say, "Oh, how you doing today?" "Oh, I'm good," or "I'm not okay." One day I said, somebody asked me how I was doing. I said, "Oh, awful." They said, "Oh, okay, good." we don't listen.
Here.
We don't listen. And I said it just to see if they were going to pay attention, because I really was feeling kind of down that day. But it was just to see if people really ask you questions to get the answer, or if it's just on autopilot.
Pleasantry.
So I just want to say, please, please listen. If someone behavior changes, if their wording changes, they start to isolate themselves, because there are warning signs. People
Yeah.
say, oh, it came out of nowhere, but it really didn't come out of nowhere, because I do
True.
believe that we show different signs of the depression that leads up to these suicidal thoughts.
Yes.
All
I
right.
want to say just recently,
Okay, go
just
ahead.
recently, I had the opportunity of going to the movies with one of the youth at the church, and she's into Broadway shows and different things like that. She's 17, and I've been blessed to be able to have a rapport with the youth. And so she wanted to see this movie called Dear Evan Hansen. Dear Evan Hansen is the name of the movie. She had already saw the Broadway show. I had not seen it before, so I really didn't know what it was all about. I thought it was a girly flick or some type of love story. So when we got in the movie and I started looking at the movie, the movie itself was about an individual, Evan Hansen. He thought that he was so insignificant. He thought that he was not being seen by his family members, his own mother. He thought his mother didn't see him as a person. He was a high schooler, and he thought that his peers didn't see him as worth anything. He was bullied a little bit because of his what he felt like was his awkwardness, and I'm sure Dr. Whitehead can attest to this. And so the way he was walking around and feeling, he himself had really climbed up in a tree and wanted to kill himself. He let himself fall down from the tree in an effort to kill himself, but he survived. And so what happened to him is, and I'm going to tell you all of it, but what happened to him, what I looked at, and just is going to skip to the end, is what he did was he had to acknowledge what was going on inside of him, and he did that with his mother. That was his go-to person. When he acknowledged what was going on inside of him, how he was feeling insignificant, how he didn't want to live, how he tried to commit suicide by getting up in the tree and falling down on purpose. His mother was able to hear him say that, and I believe him saying it helped him to hear what he was saying, to help him to realize, listen to yourself, listen to what you're saying, how you feeling. And so his mom was able to tell him and reassure him that he did matter. And I know a lot of people, sometimes they don't get that external input that they do matter. And those were, as a young girl, I struggled with low self-esteem very bad, self-worth very bad. It really took it took an awakening of really the word of God in my life, Christ saving me, for me to even understand that I was born really on purpose and for a purpose. And once I connected up with that purpose, I was able to proceed further on in life, and understand that when the different issues and things would come at me, no matter what it was, life's issues, life problems, life circumstances, that I was not alone. And and that movie was so emotional to me, because it touched all the human aspects of a person. And I know Sister Wynn and Miss Scott, I know each and every one of us can attest to that sometimes you can watch a movie and it could bring up so much emotion, so many emotions in you about where you came from, different events that happened in your life. Right. The good thing with Evan Hansen was that his acknowledgement, his confessing, that he got the support that he needed. And then he was able to overcome that feeling of wanting to kill himself, and he lived in spite of how he felt. Mm-hmm. That's part of that. In spite of how he felt, because in this life, life is going to happen to all of us. Yes. And I love the fact that you're in the high school with the teenagers, because a lot of times when you experience trauma as a teen, it does affect you as a young woman, young man. And so if we could get in front of it, we can't stop the trauma, but if we could become a catalyst, or either become a, if we could become a individual that can, like you said, stop, listen, and just be there. Sometimes you just need just be there. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything to people. Just be in their presence. That's something
Right.
that they taught me in ministry. It's called the ministry of presence. I don't have to bring you money. You don't need money. You don't need a new car. You just need me to be there. You just need me to hear you. You need me to understand. You need me to see just a little about what is happening to you. And I think that that's going to help people. But this movie really was, if you have an opportunity to see it, Dear Evan Hansen, very emotional, very real, very touching. It's a very touching movie, very touching.
Yeah, I wanted to just piggyback off of some of the things that you were saying. And I think Selena said it earlier that, people say it came out of nowhere. That's not true. There are warnings, there are warning signs, and there are risk factors. And, some of the things that, you need to consider is that children who come from families that have a history of it. Now, these are risk factors. It doesn't mean that they will do it, but these are things that make you want to be a little bit more aware because they've had history of a family member or someone that they cared about. If they've been exposed to a lot of family violence. And we know that, like Sister Venner was saying that, she was in a physical abuse relationship, her kids saw some of that. Some kids can't handle that. So they're exposed to those things at an early age. Trauma, childhood trauma just lingers on children. And when they don't get the right kind of help, all of this stuff just continues to build as they move through middle school, and they're trying to identify who they are, and they can't relate, and they feel different. They feel not worthy. And this travels on with them through high school. So some of them have attempted suicide before. They've had a lot of suicide. You'd be something, no, you wouldn't. But there are a lot of children who have considered suicide. I get a lot of threat assessments that I have to do regularly. But there are friends who will come to me. These children reach out. And the students who are feeling this way, they want somebody to recognize that something's going on. Like, Sister Selena and Sister, everybody, you were saying, somebody just noticed I am just in this place that I just don't know what to do. So, the friends are like, I need to keep this secret. And they're no, not this secret. This is not something you hold on to. And they come in and we do risk assessments. And, I call the parents. And, some of the parents feel like their children are just drama. I
Mhm.
tell them, we take this very seriously, and I am very concerned about your child. And I want to help you help your child. Can you please come in and talk to me? And the children are scared to death sometimes for me even call the parent. I say, no, I got this. Don't worry about this. I am going to support you and I'm going to help you. I may not be able to fix all of your problems, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. And you can come to me anytime if you just need me to listen or what have you. So you need to be present. And that's a lot of what we've heard echoed through the other voices tonight. Be there, be supportive, be present, listen to them, So those are some things that family history, violence, having guns and things in homes, those are risk factors. Those are things that put children at risk. But when they start to act further and couple that with some of the warning signs, then we need to heighten our attention to make sure that we are watchful. They start giving away things that they once loved. They give things to their teachers or they give things to their friends. And they're like, well, why would you give me this? You really love this. Those are warning signs that
Yes,
there
they
could
are.
be something on their
Yes.
way out.
Mhm.
That they're saying goodbye, writing letters and things to people, or they just start talking about they are a burden on other people. They just don't want to be around anymore. And I find that English teachers get a lot of information because the children are writing their essays and in their journals how they're feeling. They'll draw pictures and the pictures reflect what they're feeling. So the art teacher will send me a email and copy the picture, and I get the student in, let's talk about what they're feeling. And, they tell you, be direct.
Mhm.
Are you thinking about killing yourself? You don't have to
Yes.
sugarcoat. Are you thinking about killing yourself? That's a yes or no answer.
Yes.
Kind of know where to go from there. So ask those difficult questions and listen and be there with them. And I'm sure as we continue throughout, I won't take up all the time. I know Sister Benita hasn't had a chance to speak yet, but we can talk about the resources that are available out there to help you. But we need to know what some of the risk factors are. and what some of those warning signs are so that we can know when it's really time to intervene. We want to be around and we want to listen, but then there are times when you got to take that a little bit further. And we're talking about mental illness, and Sister Benita can probably talk a little bit more about this. It is very prevalent that individuals who attempt to commit suicide or die by suicide, that's the new language, y'all. They say die by suicide, not committed suicide. That committed makes it seem like they did something like was wrong or what have you. That's some of the new information that they're putting out. So they're saying that they died by suicide. So, but anyway, mental illness plays a big part. I think it was a very high percentage of people that do attempt to die by suicide have a mental illness, or they have had some of the symptoms of a mental illness when they were thinking about dying by suicide. So that's a prevalent role. And depression is the number one mental illness diagnosis that happens when people are thinking about dying by suicide. Sister Benita, you want to piggyback on that?
Yes, and you are right. Depression. Our young people, they're inundated by social media, trying to be accepted. And we as parents, we don't recognize that our children are in a they're in a place that we've never been in as young people. Because we're wanting to be accepted. So mental illness is playing a big role in a lot of areas when people are dying by suicide. They're actually taking and using drugs to mask and to cover up what's going on with them,
Yes.
because they're in so much pain. They're masking the pain, but we're not resolving the problem. And the problem is, if we don't recognize that we are in a state where the COVID has taken over and loneliness has set in with so many people, loneliness, hopelessness has set in with so many people that I don't know if you think about it, how many of you know people that has died for COVID around you?
Oh, yes.
It hit my family four ways.
Yes,
Two
Lord.
nieces, an aunt, and my mother. And I've seen a drastic change in my very own children,
Right.
especially with my son. You know, we look at males and we expect them to be so strong that you don't have to cry. Well, our males are dying quicker from dying by suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it not just with taking pills. They're they don't really know that they're going to kill themselves.
Yeah.
And you said something, Sister Ursula, that was so powerful. We have to call it what it is. We have to say, "Are you planning on killing yourself?" I
Mm.
just threw that a couple of last week. And I've reached out because I have a male child. I don't know how to handle a male child. I called on people that I knew that would speak to the heart of my son, because mental illness is real. And it doesn't have to always be mental illness. It's situations that you
Hmm.
go through that'll cause you to not want to live because you don't feel like there's anything that you could do to
Right.
help the situation.
Right.
And I can say when I went through my depression, it was situational
Mm.
depression.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Everything is not clinical.
Mm-hmm.
Situational when you don't know how you're going to come out of that situation or
Mhm.
what's the next step. Me, myself, I did not know what to do when I was going through that, as far as me. And I also want to say that as Black people, as a race of people, we have this stigma about depression.
Yes.
And Sister Vinny said it about the church. The church doesn't realize that people really need to go to counseling. It's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with sitting on anyone's couch and talking.
Mm-hmm.
Just be careful who you choose to talk to.
That's right.
I'm reminded of a scripture that tells us that blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly. You have to be careful who you choose to speak with in this day and time, because We can't go to social media and expect social media to solve our issues. Sometimes it intensifies what we're feeling. My son had a friend a couple of months ago that committed suicide, and it devastated all of us. But we have to realize there's a cry for help. When you see your children drifting away from you,
That's right.
you know they're doing things that they're not supposed to. If you see an adult drifting away from you and isolating
That's
themselves,
right. Yes.
we have to be mindful and watch that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can be depressed for a little while. I always tell people this. It's okay. We gonna have some blue days, but our blue days shouldn't last for months and months and months.
Right.
That we need to recognize that there's something that may be going on deeper than what we think it is.
Right.
So as a counselor, and I know Sister Ursula loved adolescents, and adolescents are my heart. They tell a story, and you can watch what they do, what they say, what they write, what the pictures that they draw, and that's telling you a story, parents.
That's right.
Do not be afraid to go in their rooms. Do not be afraid to look in their books. Do not be afraid to go into
Computer.
their backpacks because
Computer.
there's a story in that backpack
Mm-hmm.
that they're reaching out for us and adults. Um, I always said, and Sister Vinnie can attest to this, I always said there's some of the most depressed people in church, but we think we're going to pray it away. We're not praying it away. We have different types of depression, and those different types of depression can lead to death by suicide,
Correct.
bipolarness,
Yes.
schizophrenic,
Yes. Oh yeah.
anxiety. Believe it or not, anxiety is playing large roles in people's lives now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be mindful of what's going on with our children and with our families. Um, throughout the state of Mississippi, suicide is the third leading cause of death for ages 15 through 34. That's deep. Fifth leading cause of death for ages 35 and 44. It's the eighth leading cause of death for ages 45 to 54. 12th leading cause of death for ages 55 to 64. And the 16th leading cause of death for ages 65 plus. Watch your grandparents,
Yes.
especially if they've lost a loved one in their life, you know, and they don't feel like they can live without them.
Mm-hmm.
Our overall suicide is the 13th leading cause of death. So we need to watch it.
I want to piggyback off of what you said. I'm sorry. Those statistics are very similar to what I found overall. You talked about the
Mm-hmm.
state of Mississippi. The state of Mississippi is in worse condition than the overall in some of those areas. 78% of people who die by suicide are our males, our young
Mm-hmm.
men. We
Right.
have to be careful and watch them. And then it's the second leading cause of death with 10-year-olds to 34. Now, it's supposed to kind of decrease as you get a little bit, older, but then you hit that midlife crisis area and
Mm-hmm.
those numbers start to rise again, and
Mm-hmm.
so they are up. So it's very prevalent. The numbers are up for blacks for committing
Yeah.
suicide. And I'm sure COVID hasn't helped any, but the numbers are kind of on a rise for African Americans committing suicide. You can remember probably a day and time where there was an old myth that black people didn't commit suicide, and that was a myth, but the numbers are rising. And the numbers for suicide in general have been moving up, increasing, since the late 1999, or moving up by 35% or more. So more and more people are committing suicide, and they're not finding ways to cope. And I feel like
Exactly.
coping skills is a major part of what we need to be able to live this life, y'all. We're not going to stop problems from coming into our lives. And once you get through one situation, another one is going to come eventually.
Exactly.
So we have got to get coping skills. And I try to teach my kids. I don't try to fix their problems for them. I try to give them a set of skills that they can utilize, that when the next problem comes and they're not at my school, they'll have some type of skills to deal with that situation. We can't fix everything for our children. We have to be there to support them, because otherwise they're going to always depend on you to fix things for them.
That's
And
right.
and then they're going to start to feel like they're a burden. That's another, thing that the children, they feel like their parents don't love them, or they're getting on their parents' nerves all the time because the parents sick of them because they always got issues. And those things heighten those students, attitudes about thinking about committing suicide or dying by suicide. So, we have to love on our children, and we have to give them unconditional love and let them know that they are loved no matter what. They are not defined by the choices that they made or the mistakes that they
Right.
made. We've all made
We've
mistakes.
all
We've
made
made
them.
choices,
Mhm.
and we have
Yes.
to learn to come through those. And we
Yes.
will get through those. And you need to be surrounded by loving and supportive people. And if you are strong, what does they tell us? To bear the infirmities of the weak. We
That's
need to
right.
put our arms around and embrace those that are weaker. We don't need to look at them and talk about them. We need to be trying to embrace them, because you don't know what they're thinking. They have this guilt, this survivor's remorse, that people
That's
who
right.
loved ones die by suicide. They'll wonder, what else could I have done? What did I miss? I wasn't paying attention. They live with that. So let's have open dialogue with our children. Let's sit down and have those conversations. And how is life for you? How are you feeling? What's going on with you? Take that time. It's important that we really invest in our children, because they're surrounded by a lot, and there's a lot of
Mhm.
darkness out there that's really trying to steal our children away.
Yeah.
And they have to be really strong. So we have to really build them up, give them the support that they need. And that's what this is about. Trying to let everyone on this line know,
Yes.
hey, you have some five faces right here. You have people that's actually texting in and saying, how they agree, that are willing to be there and be support for you. So you do not have to go through this alone. So if you're having those kind of thoughts, those kind of feelings, or you just don't know what you're feeling, you should reach out. And if you're in school, your school counselor will help you. You can go to your school, you can just say to the teacher, I need to see the counselor. You don't even have to tell them why. And they will let you see that school counselor. And you can get in and say, something just ain't right. They will work with you, and they will help you find some resources to get what you need. And I tell these children, they hate for me to call their mom. I say, look, it does not matter what kind of mother you think your mom is. You may think she hates you, or that she stays out in the street all night. Every mother loves their child.
That's
I
right.
said, and if you were my child, I would want to know. So I'm going to make sure that I communicate to your parent. The children are scared. I say, I'm right here with you. I'm going to sit here in this room with you, and we're going to have a conversation with your mom. I'm not going to dump all this on you and have you, you support people when they're having a difficult time. They're stressed, and they need
Mhm.
somebody to support them. So I sit in that office with them, and when the parent get there, like, oh God, here you go again. I'm like, no, ma'am, this is what happened today. And I just want to let you know that I am really concerned about your daughter. And I want to help you guys. I have some resources here. Why don't I call this place and see if we can get you an appointment so that we can check and just make sure that everything's okay? And we just have that conversation back and forth. She kind of feels this way. And I'll ask the child, is that correct? Am I saying that right? So that they get a chance to voice what they're feeling, or that I'm conveying the information accurately. And then, after a while, the parents kind of settle down, and the parents will be like, well, we do this, or we used to do this, and now we don't do it anymore. So if you approach people with love, sincerity, genuineness, they will bow down a little bit and hear what you're trying to say. I think that we can mend some of this brokenness that we're seeing in our communities and around us. So I kind of got off on a tangent here. So
No,
I'm gonna,
you
No, no, you're
No,
good.
you're
I'm
good.
gonna turn it back
good.
over to somebody else for a few minutes.
I would like to say with our risk factors, if you know that your child has tried contemplating suicide,
Mhm.
please remove objects, pills, guns, knives. Remove those from your home,
Mhm.
and do not be afraid to reach out and get help somewhere else.
That's right.
Because no man is an island by
That's
themselves.
right.
We need one another.
That's
You
right.
know?
That's right.
One thing that I wanted to share and kind of piggyback a little bit off of Dr. Whitehead, is that we have to have what we call that unconditional love.
Mhm.
Unconditional love. And the reason why I say that is because, when you say there's a lot of darkness, a lot of the kids nowadays, even back in our days, we had peer pressure, but it was different.
Yeah.
This is a different kind of peer pressure.
Mhm.
And so they're struggling to fit in. They're struggling with their identities. They're struggling, and they are afraid. It's almost like they are afraid to be able to express, the pain or the suffering or the things that they're going through in their mental, because they feel like, if I tell mom this, then she's going to think this way about me. We have to learn as parents now to be able to stay open to whatever it is that our child may. And my kids and I used to have these dialogues. I think we used to do it almost like every Saturday or something like that. I'll give them a pass one day out of the week to really express to me how they felt about me, about our situation, about things.
Good.
It did not feel good. I promise you.
Right.
Things that they
Mhm.
would say
Right.
to me, oh my God, it did not feel good. But at least I gave them that opportunity to share with me. Sometimes now today, I think they still, I'm like, y'all, hey, listen, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because they think that dialogue is still open. But we used to, and I gave them that opportunity to tell me, well, mom, I don't like you because, or I don't like, this because, I don't like this. And so they had that one day of just that freedom to share with me. But then, they knew how far they could go with it, but I always let them know. And so that left me and my children open with a real good open relationship where they can really come to me and tell me anything. At this point, they can just share anything. They know that I won't stop loving them because, some things, that the kids may say to you, it's not gonna feel good to you all the time. They may share with you, sometimes sometimes y'all act like hypocrites. What? I like a
They
hypocrite.
will
What
say
you
that.
mean? We have like, but then when they begin to tell you, express some things, then you may not want to accept it then, but you go and you sit down and you go like, you know what? You go to searching your own soul and yourself and like, you know what? I could have did this a little different. You could have shared this a little different. So if we get to that point where we make it, and I guess what I'm trying to say is make it okay for them to come to us, and not be that judgmental mom or dad or whatever, you know, then they will, we'll see less suicide. We'll see less, because they'll be able to depress some of that pressure that's on them with somebody that really, as you say, Dr. Whitehead, that really love them. And unfortunately, Dr. Whitehead, not all parents
Love their children.
Yeah.
Mhm. Unfortunately, and the reason why I can say that is because I've sit with some parents, and you be wanting to just reach out and touch them parents sometimes and go like, how dare you say this to your child? Come on, So, we got to, when we deal with those children, and I dealt with child care children from 0 age when they come out their mama's womb until they went off to school. And I used to have to deal with some of that. I mean, parents wouldn't go to school to see about their children.
Got that.
The schools would be calling the parents, and I'm not coming over there, and
Yep.
I'm
I
not
can't do
this,
nothing with them.
yeah, I can't do nothing with them. And I would stand in the gap. Wait a minute, what you mean you can't do nothing with no, And I would go and be that parent that stand in the gap. And that's why I guess I got the name Mother Benny, because I mothered everybody's child. I would beat your child, and but
Love them, beat them,
I would love them and beat them, honey.
beat
And
them.
that's just that's the way it was. But we don't have that anymore. We don't have where they said the village raised the children, or the village is listening to the children, or that kind of stuff. And for me, when I went through that stage of suicidal thoughts or things in my heart, I reached out to a whole lot of people.
They didn't hear it.
But you know what they told me? Let Pray about it. Just pray about it. Go ahead on, just pray about it. It's gonna be all right. Well, I'm at that point now. No, we're gonna pray about it, but let's do something about it.
That's
Do
right.
As
something
the
about
said,
it.
let's be about it. We're gonna pray about it, but we're gonna be about it as well. So, I look like my sister down there. She got something to say. Go ahead on, y'all. I'm a hush. I told y'all I got that preaching now.
Well, I wanted to interject. Truly, this panel definitely is needed in the discussion. Is one that not only will be started tonight, but it will proceed on, because of the situation that we're in right now with COVID. It has brought up a lot of humanistic emotions and feelings, and suicide touches all ages, all races,
That's
all
right.
genders.
That's right.
And so it's definitely this is an opportunity to do our best to try to give out some form of some form of help, whether it be spiritual or counseling, psychological, mental, because all those areas are being touched right now because of the way the world is in this particular pandemic situation. And a lot of things have fallen on the school. The parents want the school to fix the children, and then the children, so things have had a domino effect. What I look at too, I was looking at something, I think I looked it up on Google, and it was talking about maybe some ways or some things that individual could kind of help themselves before they got too far into it, would be to try to find a hobby, or connect up with somebody. I like to connect up with people. I like to network, and when you could connect up with a person that you're comfortable with, maybe you could do a hobby together. We know with COVID and different things, we could do things in a safe manner, and that may help that person. Or if that person would start journaling, I'm a journaler. I journal
Yes.
my feelings. I
Yes.
journal events, things that I want to happen. And I think that's another avenue that could help another individual of all ages,
Right.
youth as well as young adults, to really write the problem out, and just get it out of you. Don't hold on to it. Find somebody to spew that problem on. That can truly help you. I worked on a military installation for almost 20 years, and they talked about the buddy system, and they really encourage people to have someone in their life that if they felt like they were falling, felt like they wanted to give up, there was somebody that they can communicate to. It is unfortunate that we do not have the family dynamics of a father and a mother. That is where we are in this society. So with that, we have to create our own families to some degree. So that's where you get that village that comes in, and that helps, that teacher that becomes like a mother, that maybe that deacon that becomes like a father. And so I just don't want any individual that have blood running warm in their veins to feel like they have no hope, and that they have to take their life, that they have to stop living, that this problem is too big. Because everybody, if we start talking, we will be here until 2022 and testifying of the things that we've gone through, tragedies that we've met, situations that we've encountered, things that we've done, things that have been done to us. Life happens to everybody. It just it makes a difference on how you handle it.
That's right.
You have to. you have to, you don't let life handle you. You have to handle life. And yes, you have to handle life. And I don't, again, I don't want anybody, because if I made it, and I mean, everybody's got a tragic situation. I made it to this point in my life at 56 years old, 14 years being pregnant, 14 years pregnant, out of school in the 10th grade, working a full-time job at the age of 15 years old, because my dad said, when you're grown, when you have a baby, you're grown. That doesn't happen to everybody, and everybody don't make it. So I have a passion to tell people with clarity that yes, you can make it, that there will be people put in your way divinely.
That's right.
To help you make it.
That's
I
right.
sit before you with a master's degree, out of school, Gulfport High School, 10th grade, drop out, working, but I have a master's in business degree, and went through all of those. Like I tell people, it wasn't easy, but it is possible. So
Yes.
do not allow the possibilities in your life to be forfeited by taking your life. You don't have to.
Yes.
Even if a girl gets pregnant, we can move you from that step. You're already pregnant. So let's make
right.
you a great mama. Let's make you a great mama. Graduate, show your child your graduation picture.
That's
So
right.
there,
That's
and
right.
so and I'm gonna wrap it up. The other things that they talked about is that alcohol and drugs, they exacerbate, they play
Yes,
into
it does.
all of this, and they're not good for you. You know, they're not good. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. These things I have, but these things did not add anything to my life. It just made it didn't take the problem away. It just made it numb you for the moment, but it wasn't a fix. And so the most important thing that I would tell any individual, the ladies at the jail ministry, I would always tell them, take this opportunity as a fork in the road and go right. And then when you get out of here, go get your children. Your children need you. When a person feels needed, it gives you, it's not that they give you something to live for, but it does give you something to live for. So that's another thing. Stay away from that. And again, I was just giving some little tools and stuff that people can do to help them, and I hope it helps somebody that to know that yes, we've struggled suicide ideation. Yes, we've gone through different tests and trials and just different things. Life has happened, but you can make it, and just don't give up. Don't give up on life, and don't give up on yourself, because you just don't know who you are. If I'd have taken my life, I would not have met Sheila. I would not have met myself and
Right.
liked myself. You understand?
Life is worth
I
living.
would have lost out on a great person, because love first had to begin right here with us,
Right.
with yourself. And if they could just reach inside of themselves and just, hey, you got a little bit, it's still something left. Don't give up on yourself. Don't
give
quit.
up.
Keep going. Don't give up.
Sister Venner, you said something earlier about you, a Mama Venner, you will be, do all those roles. But, there's research that supports that it just takes one significant adult. It doesn't have to be the parent. One significant adult to help change the trajectory of a child's life.
That's
So
it.
you can be that in spite of the child not having that support that we feel like they're missing at home. They can still get that. That could be a teacher who believes in you.
Yes.
That could be your pastor. That could be a lady in the church. It could be your best friend's mom. It could be somebody who shows that love and care for you and believe in you. And you're worth loving, and love yourself. And we love you. God loves you. So he made you. And he knew that we would have difficult times. And that's why we have those around us. He drops those nuggets and those gems. And people become part of your life for a reason, for a season, or a lifetime. So you will have that support that you need. It will come. Just don't give up.
Don't give
Yeah,
up.
and one of the things that when you said that, it just kind of put me all the way back to the mindset of all of this is going to take the community coming together and getting things going for the community. when we didn't have all of these kind of suicidal thoughts, and I'm just putting it out there, when we had the community that that got together. We played those on the baseball field,
Yeah,
and we played basketball, and we went
yeah,
outside and jumped rope, and we did all of these things, as a community.
Mhm.
So it takes the community. It's going to take a community of putting things. We got to stop trying to do all of these grand things for just the older people, but we need to start doing things for the children, to get them
Yes.
moving, to get them doing things, to get them, from being stuck inside, in
with
stuck on the
technology.
video games. Those
Yes,
video
That's
games
right.
teaching
yes,
a lot of things that you'll be surprised of
be
Yes.
those
surprised.
games,
Yes.
and
Yes,
not showing these children that love, and not going outside, and not taking your children for a night. You don't have to go to McDonald's to get anything. Make some sandwiches and go just sit out,
at
put
the
your little
park, throw
blanket and sit
frisbee.
out to the park free
Mhm.
and throw a frisbee, and all of us little thick folks here done got a little thick, and we'll lose a few pounds and stuff. But getting out, breathing some
Yeah.
fresh
Yes,
air with our children, and that
yes,
gives them comfort to be able to sit down to share things with you. What happened at school today? Oh, Johnny punched me in my face. Okay, Johnny did. How did that make you feel? It made me feel like punching Johnny back, and then, and you have, then your dialogue
That's right.
starts,
Mhm.
and so if we don't get back to the basics
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
things, and then that gives you as a person, a parent, an aunt, or somebody, time to get out. Because listen, we suffered, we all, Sister Benita and all of us, we had 2020 was a year for us. You
yes,
understand? I'm talking about a mental year for
Yes.
us.
Yes.
You
yes,
know, to
Emotionally.
lose that who to
Yes.
lose people back to back to back to back the way we did over these, just, I'm just saying, 2 years, just 2 years of all of the
yes.
people. Yes, that was a mental thing. I myself started pulling back and finding myself in a state of depression, not knowing that I was falling into depression, but I just didn't want to be bothered with nobody. I didn't want to be around nobody. I became scared. I became like David said in Psalms 94 and 19. David says, when anxiety was great within me, he says, your constellation brought joy to my soul. It was the Lord that brought joy to my soul. He constellated me. He helped me to get through what I was able to go through. But what about those that don't know the Lord?
Yes.
What about
And
those don't have their hope in God? So it's going to be up to us, to share that love, to share. Hey, you can make it. How do you know I can make it? Share your testimony. Stop being so ashamed to tell people I had those thoughts.
Right.
This happened to me. We're so ashamed of what God brought us through. Everybody doesn't read the Bible, but they'll read your life.
That's
Yeah.
right.
They hear your testimony. Your testimony is good news. What are we put here for? We're put here to share the good news. And good news is that we made it through those suicide thoughts. We
It's
made it
good
through
news.
those even
Yeah.
depression. Come on, y'all.
Through
we
those
made
I
it
was
through.
difficult days. Yes. Difficult
oh my God.
nights. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
them days
Yes.
that I cried, those
That's
days
right.
that I didn't want to come out of the bed, those
Mhm.
days,
That's
there was
right.
days as an adult that I did not want to roll out of my bed.
Mhm.
Come on,
Yes.
be honest with people. Yes, say sanctified me. I did not want to get out that bed because I was letting the world weigh me down. But God, there's hope in a tree that has been cut down.
Yes, that's just
Look,
what
when
I
I
was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
There are days when I felt so just overwhelmed that,
Mm-hmm.
all I could do was just sit up on the side of my bed and put my feet on the floor and say, Lord, this is all I can do. You're going to have to do the
Mm,
rest.
Do the
I
my
don't
rest.
know
God.
which way to go, what steps to take. All
Yeah.
I can do is I'm just going to try to keep moving forward. And I'm just going to get
Yes.
up. I put my
Yes.
feet on the side of the floor and I just took a deep breath and say, Lord, I need you. So,
Yes.
we all have those days. It may look
Yes.
like we have it all together, but we
Oh
all
no.
have those days. And we're no different from other people. We experience
That's right.
pain and
Yes.
trauma. We hurt. We cry.
Mhm.
We have all of the same emotions that everyone else has.
Yes.
We
Yes.
just have to support one another to get to the place where we can overcome and be
And
victorious in these things that we're dealing with.
I was thinking about a song that's sung in church. I need you.
Yes.
You need me. We're all a part of God's body.
Yes.
We need
Yes.
one another.
That's right.
I won't hurt you with words of my mouth.
That's right.
We need to lift each other up
Yes.
because no sister should hurt and another sister not feel it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Amen.
I've seen Miss Ruby Hart put in that children are put on
yes,
medication at
at
an
an early
early
age.
age, and those
Mhm.
medicines have suicidal tendencies,
Yes,
and
they
they are
do.
labored, and things get out of hand. And
Yep.
that's true.
Yes,
Yeah,
That's
that's
that's true.
true.
Those kids are put on the
Yes, they
medication.
are.
They matter of fact, they in my daycare, one of the young kids who had just started he was in my after school care. He was in the daycare, went to the after school, and they were trying to put him on Ritalin. And but hey, when he was with me, he was good.
right.
And then when he gets over there, then all of a sudden now he needs to be on Ritalin.
Hmm.
I made an appointment with the school counselors and everybody, and with the child. And when I got through with the child, the counselor, and everybody else, that child didn't need no Ritalin. He just needed grammar, if you know what I mean. And I promise
Mhm.
you, that child was all right from that day to this day. Honored student, graduated, and all that good stuff.
Right. Yes.
It's sometimes it's not that they need to be put on medication, because believe it or not, and I'm just going to share this. A lot of times they're put on that medication when 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 they're selling that medication, when the pharmaceuticals are selling the medications to the
Hmm.
doctors,
Yeah.
okay, they have a quota,
Right.
unfortunately, that they have
That's
to meet.
right.
That
And
does
your
happen.
child may
That
become a
is
part
so
of that
true.
quota. Okay.
Hmm.
It
And
does
so, but
happen.
but but we have to stand up to make sure that our children don't
Hmm.
become a part of that quota,
Yeah.
but we stand for our children to make sure, because she's right, that medication will give them suicidal thoughts and tendencies. Hey, y'all know what it do for you.
And
Well,
not just
all
that,
medications have
Sister
side
Betty.
effects.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, it has side effects, and not just that. As they grow as an adult, they become dependent on medication to
Right.
try to cope.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Let's teach them to cope at a young age.
That's
yeah,
right. That's
Mhm.
what it's
yeah.
about.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm not saying that don't take your child off medicine, because that's what no,
Mhm.
Mama Vinny didn't say that.
That's not what
I
you said.
said, I'm saying to you what happened in a situation that
Mhm.
that was presented to me.
Mhm.
That was that particular situation. Is it possible that some kids need medication? For me, shoot, everybody don't need blood pressure medication. Sometimes you need to lose weight, and that'll help you. But some people, they need it. So you got some people that need it, and some people just need to tweak some things in their lives, and
Mhm.
it would help your situation. So yeah,
Mhm.
and we
And
have Miss Heather Ducky. She says people have given up on kids in the community, thinking they are all bad and all a lost cause. I agree. There needs to be more for kids to come together. The ones with no one, and that's true. Some kids, you'll be surprised of kids that don't have. And listen, let me just make this as a statement, because my mother was a working mother. It wasn't that she did not have time for her kids. She
was
had to work.
providing.
If,
Hmm.
if they say a man don't work, they don't get to eat. Well, if mama didn't work, the children wasn't eating.
That's right.
Okay, so
Mhm.
mom worked, and so it left us, the older siblings that was in the house, to be able to help, to help mama out. So no, it's not always that you have bad parents. Sometimes you have parents that has to step up in situation. So that's when you have uncles and aunts and church leaders, and then unfortunately you can't trust all of them either.
That's right.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So, but you have to find people that you can trust, that you can include in your circle, to make sure that your children have the necessary things that they need, because we don't want to put them in a situation where they've been taken advantage of and then they want to commit suicide for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, yeah, it takes a village, but watch who you dealing with in your village though.
Yeah.
That's a
Selena
whole nother topic.
Selena put some numbers up, guys, about places that you can call and contact if you're having some issues. Selena, I sent you another one. Those were like national lines that you should always be able to get someone on. You can always dial 911 if it's an emergency situation, and they'll help you get to a place where you can, get some grounding. Um, Here on the coast, we do referrals. We have like Pine Grove. We have um, Gulf Coast Mental Health and Gulfport Memorial. So we might want to make a page and post, Selena, with some of those resources on it later. I'm not sure exactly what they're using in Picayune. I am aware of some counselors in Picayune, though.
Um, they use Pine Grove also.
Pine Grove,
Yeah.
okay. So we can get some numbers and post next to those and put on
Pine
some.
Belt. I'm sorry, Pine Belt.
Pine Belt. They have a Pine Belt and a Pine Grove. They have Oceans. They have a lot of facilities now. Gulfport has several. Hattiesburg, Poplarville even has a clinic, and they have it's Pearl River. The guy sends me an email. I can't remember. It's Pearl River County, some type of facility in Poplarville also. So we'll get those. I have those resources at work. I should have brought them home tonight, Selena. I'll share those with you, and you can maybe post them so that
Okay.
your viewers can come back and get that information if they need it. If you are in school, if you're a school-age child, I urge you to make your way to your school counselor. She will know how to help direct you and get you to the place where you need some help. But if anyone's feeling like, I just don't think I'll even make it to school, then we need to hit some of these numbers, some 911s, or we need to go in for an assessment. And when you're feeling like you want to hurt yourself, that is a crisis.
Assessment.
That's a
Yeah.
That's
crisis.
Christ.
You don't
That's
have to have an appointment to go in to see someone. You can call that office or parent or what have. My child said she wanted to kill herself. Or you walk into that door of a clinic and you say, my child said she wanted to kill herself.
They're
And they
gonna
will
do
give that
something.
child an
Yeah.
assessment right then and to determine what steps they need to go to next. So don't think, oh, but I ain't gonna get an appointment, or you can walk in and you can say that the school told me I had to come over here, or my child told me she wanted to kill herself and I don't know what to do next. And they should be able to help guide you to the
Assessment.
place where you can get some support. We're
Right.
resources to help you, but they're going to have the facilities and the doctors and things that you can get to immediately to get some help. So don't sit at home on this if you're not able to deal with the issues you're having. We're encouraging you and letting you know that you can get through this, but you might need some additional support to get through this at this time. So don't be afraid to reach out if you are in these places. I just kind of want to review real quick. I don't know what time we're going to finish, but I wanted to review risk factors and warning signs one more
Yeah.
time before we got off the line. Is that okay with everybody?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
So if they're having depression, and we know that depression is like a long lasting, serious, unhappiness, a long time, and you quit doing the things that you love to do. If your child was a football player or played in a band or was a part of a club or used to do things or hang out with this person, and all of a sudden they just don't want to do anything, they just have a loss of wanting to do those things again. That's a risk factor. Now, remember, that alone does not mean that your child wants to kill themselves, but these are
Yes, sir.
things that will kind of lead you to that direction. If it's someone that's always dealing with chronic pain, can't ever get well, that's a risk factor. There's a history of suicide, a family history of mental disorder, a family history of substance abuse, exposure to violence, some type of physical or sexual abuse that has taken place with the child or in the family. If there's a presence of weapons and guns in the homes, those are risk factors. If someone's been recently released from jail or prison, sometimes it's hard for them to get back into the real world and cope. That's a risk factor. And if they are exposed directly or indirectly to other suicidal behavior, such as that of family member, peers, or celebrities, we have to be careful. The media can put so much attention on suicides that people who are in a dark place may feel like, oh, I'm going to go out with a bang. People are going to remember me like they did this particular person. We don't want to
Oh,
glorify. We don't want to
yes.
glorify suicide. So, be careful about that, but be watchful if someone in the school or someone around them has committed suicide, and we have to be careful about the way we handle it at school. We love the children. And when something happens to them, we want to, show our outpouring of love. But kids who are in dark places and they've considered doing it, they feel like, oh, well, that's a way for me to be noticed. And they start thinking those things. So you want to be careful about that. And if they have people around them that's dealt with that, you want to be watchful. Now, these are warning signs. This means like we've kind of gone a step up now. They start talking about wanting to kill themselves or they want to die. We talked about like when they're journaling or when they're writing papers at school or when they're drawing, or they just might say it to you or they may say it to somebody. They start looking online for ways to kill themselves. They say that men are much more successful at committing suicide. They usually use more lethal methods. Women traditionally would do a little bit cleaner things like take pills or something and die in their sleep or go ahead. Men usually would do something that's more lethal. So the woman may have an opportunity to be saved, whereas a man may not. So they're much more successful. So be careful about that. They start talking about feeling hopeless or no purpose. I don't even know why I get up every day, or I don't even know why I go to school. I don't know why, whatever. Those are hopeless. There's no future in what they're saying. So they don't see themselves in the future. They start talking about pain, unbearable pain. They maybe a boyfriend quit them, or they lost someone that they love, and they just don't know how they're going to go on. And all of these are things that I feel like Sister Benita said earlier can be situational. It's just a time. It's not forever. So we don't have to stay in that place. They talk about being a burden to others. They start using alcohol and drugs. Sister Sheila talked about that. Start acting anxious and agitated. Start doing reckless things. Like I have had a group of kids that would just do things that you be like, I can't believe you did that. Do you know that could kill you? They didn't really care. So that reckless behavior can be a sign. They sleep all day, or they don't ever sleep at all. They withdraw or feel isolated. They start showing rage or trying to get revenge, or they have real bad mood swings. They're up one day and down one day. They're just having these mood swings because if they're in those bad moods and it's excavated by something like drinking, the mind starts to play these things in their head. So be mindful of those things and just try to make sure that we are watching the people around us if they have any of these risk factors that we want to be mindful of.
Amen.
I thank y'all so much again. Today I actually heard a story, actually this week. But today I heard a story. This young lady was telling me about. She went to a grocery store and a little girl was over polishing her fingernails on the aisle, just opening up the polishing her fingernails. And so she was like, "What are you doing? Stop! Come on here. Go find your mama," ready to whoop her. "Go find your mama. Get out there fingernail polish." And so she thought, maybe I should have helped her find her mother. And so as she was going around the store, she saw this lady over in sporting goods and she said, "Did you see a little girl? She had on a pink shirt or whatever color the shirt was." She said, "I didn't see anybody." She said, "Well, come help me find her." She said, "I didn't ask her. I just said, come help me find her because I need to get her to her mother." And so they found the little girl, and fast forward, they were getting ready to leave the store, and the lady walked up to her, gave her a piece of paper, and said, "Don't open this until you get in the car." And so when she got in the car, she said she started eating her sandwich. She said, "Oh, that lady gave me that and told me to open it when I got in the car." And she thanked her because she was over in the sporting goods section getting ready to purchase a hunting knife, I believe, some type of knife that they told her was the sharpest knife because her boyfriend had broken up with her and went with some other girl. And she just was brokenhearted, like you said, situational. And at that moment, that's what she was planning to do. And because that lady noticed her, spoke to her, talked to her, she saved her life, and she
Wow.
thanked her for that. And so it is important. And sometimes, we just gotta talk to strangers like we've been knowing them forever, because that's basically what she did. She walked up and said, come on here, come help me. And the other story that I heard just this week was this young lady's sister committed suicide, but also the mother had previously committed suicide. And so the sister, this month, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, um, she also committed suicide, but the young lady is taking it so hard because they lost their mother, death by suicide. Um, and then the sister had promised her that she would never do that. And it looked like, and it appeared to be, that the young lady was doing good. Sometimes we could put on that show like right before we're getting ready to do it.
That's
um,
right.
Life is good. And
Mhm.
you don't know what that turning point is when people are already struggling in their mind, that they're trying so hard. They're trying so hard to be happy, to live happy. And then something happens, bam, just like that. And you forget. And she has two children left behind, and also a grieving sibling that's left behind. So, that's how I got on the prayer line with Sister Rosa, because I was asking for prayer for that family. And today I heard about, the other story with the young lady who lived because someone took notice and had a conversation with her, and it saved her life. And that's why we want to continue to remind everyone, we're all going through things. So be kind. A smile, if you give a smile, that's one thing that you get right back in most cases. And that's saying, hey, I acknowledge you. I noticed you. I smiled at you. You smiled back. Just something as simple as that could save a life. You may not ever know it,
Right.
but you know that you shared a smile with someone. Um,
Yes.
and I said that I was just gonna be led by the Lord if I needed to share my story, but I'm not. I'm just gonna say that I have also, had thoughts just from the things that you go through. And I can't even call mine situational, because if it is, it's a 40 something year situational.
Serial situation upon continuous. Yeah.
It's like chronic. But yes, and so this was so important to me, because I wished that someone would have paid attention to the signs. And even if they do pay attention, sometimes people don't know what to do. That's why we're here right now saying this is what you can do. If you're having these thoughts, if you know someone that are having these thoughts, here, let me Google it. Everything is right here in this phone that you need. The damage can be here, but also the help can be found here. And I just want to piggyback off of Dr. Whitehead, and I think that Sheila also mentioned these coping skills, because she said that, like, she likes to journal and that helps her. And I've been trying my best to journal, and that does help when you write things down.
Therapeutic.
Yes, it's therapeutic.
Yes.
It's reading a book, reading a good book, watching television that's uplifting, something uplifting, prayer and meditation, exercising, and just adjusting your expectations, it says, because I think a lot of times that depression comes from these expectations that we have of other people, sometimes expectations that we have of ourselves. And then there's that letdown. And when you have that letdown, depending on how far you go down, you could have those suicidal thoughts, to have death by suicide. So that's all I want to tell you, because I've been quiet. Y'all have been amazing.
I mean,
And
it's just so much that just keeps popping off. And you just said something that I didn't think to say, but y'all, we have to give ourselves grace in this season. You
mm-hmm.
know, I have kids who are used to making straight A's. We've been on virtual, we've been quarantined, their grades are suffering, they don't even know what's going on. Their lives are spinning out of control. You know, and I get the kids, I said, give yourself a little grace. This has not been a normal year. This has not been a normal 2 years.
2 years.
We're all just trying to make it. It's been difficult for all of us. It's been difficult for parents, for students, for teachers, for Everyone. It's
Everybody.
been difficult. So we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace. If we're not where we think we should be, we have to give ourselves a little grace in this season. So y'all just remember that.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love. Ooh, that was awesome. That was so amazing. I don't see any questions. We did have comments, and Vinny read those for us. Some of the major ones she read out, but I tried to put all of them up on the screen to acknowledge the person that typed it, because I didn't want to interrupt to read those, but I wanted to show that, people were engaging with the conversation that we were having. So
I have a question.
okay.
Sister Benita, where are you working and located to be able to maybe get some where people might be able to find some support for you? Is there some way that they might be able to get in touch with you or where you're working?
I am working at Early Head Start right now.
Okay.
However, I do personal counseling. I
Yeah.
I allow people to come to my house and I do counseling.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah. So if you need a number, I can give you my number where you can contact me. My
Okay.
number is 601-569-9134.
Okay. I'm in Wiggins, so I'm not that close. But if you guys need me or the ladies on the panel, if y'all need to reach out to me, whatever I can do to help support, I'll be happy to. But I am in Stone County now, so I'm not immediately within your presence. But if necessary, we make happen what we need to make happen.
Mhm.
And you don't personally have to go in people's office anymore. It's virtual now. You can
That's
have
right.
virtual counseling.
That is
I
right.
know plenty of people have virtual counseling.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
Y'all, I'll have to share this. I wasn't going to. This is not really on the subject of what we're dealing with, but the Lord has been leading me. And he keeps dropping these nuggets off of me, and I keep picking them up, and the bag is getting heavy. I guess it's time to build off of all these nuggets that he's been giving to me. I know that I'm getting ready to retire from work within the next year or so, and I'm just saying, Lord, what's my exit plan? What is the work that you want me to do? And he keeps giving me the pieces to this picture. And then tonight, I'm just like, oh God, it's like the third or the fourth time that the things that have been spoken to me by men of God and women of God that I'm starting to see come to light. So I'm that's just my personal testimony, and I'm not sure exactly what the end looks like, but I know that God is leading me to do some work. I love kids, I love women. I mean, I love everybody, but we deal with a lot. And I want our kids to be strong so that they can grow up and be successful. I want women to be empowered, to be the best version of themselves that they can be for themselves and their families. And God is with us, y'all. He has a purpose for every one of us.
Yes.
Everybody on and viewing all the viewers, those who are feeling in despair. God has a purpose. We were built with a purpose, and we just have to seek God to find out what that is, because there's a great work to be done. I'm not gonna get on another soapbox, and I am sorry if I took up too much time, y'all. I am so sorry.
You did
But
wonderful.
it's
You
near
did
and dear.
wonderful.
It's near and dear to my heart, guys. And I just want people to have the beautiful life that God intended for us to have. In spite
Yeah.
of, in spite
Yes,
of.
yes.
So
I
it,
do agree.
it's just it can be a beautiful life in spite of.
Yeah, I do
It
agree.
can
I
definitely
agree.
be a beautiful life in spite of everything. You just got to hold on, because joy comes in the morning. And I heard someone say that what helped them was it's morning somewhere all the time.
Hmm.
You
Yes.
don't have to wait till the sun comes up. You know how we take stuff so literal. We
Yeah.
wait till the sun comes up and we're looking for the joy. It's daylight. It's sun
Yes,
up
yes, yes,
somewhere.
yes,
And
yes.
so it's morning.
Yes, Lord. Yes,
Yeah.
Lord. Thank you,
So
Lord.
there's joy in that.
And Selena, hey Selena, I did want to just ask if I could get have the ladies' numbers, just text them to me, and also to if someone is in the Gulfport area and they need someone to speak with, or I'd be more than happy to speak with them.
Great.
More than
That's
happy.
awesome.
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Please share everybody's numbers. I would like to get her number as well.
Okay, I will do that. I'm on it.
I've enjoyed you, ladies. This has
I've
been
enjoyed
great.
it. I've enjoyed being here
Yeah, it's
and
been great.
enjoyed meeting each and
God
every one of
bless you,
you.
ladies.
Yes.
God
Yes,
bless each and every one of you.
and I'm
Yeah.
thankful that Ursula was able to share her testimony about the little nuggets, because the last time she came on live with me, It was similar testimony that this is what I'm supposed to do and God is working it out. And that's what he does. And that's why
Yes.
I show up, is because that is near and dear to me as well. Because when you've suffered it, you can relate. If people
Yeah.
never been through it, they can't relate when you say,
Nope.
I'm struggling in my mind. I don't want to be here anymore. And they feel hopeless. So I am thankful to Vinny, Ursula, Benita, and Sheila for coming on with me, because this is my purpose currently in this
Yes.
season, to
Yeah.
continue to show up and bring some of these hard subjects awareness. I mean, every month there's several that you can pick and choose from to bring awareness to the community, to say this is what's needed at this time in this season. And everything is virtual. So you can be in where you say you at, Ursula?
Wiggins.
Wiggins, Sheila's in Gulfport, and the
Right.
rest we're in Picayune. So there's no excuse not to come together and
Yes.
say, we can do this and you're not alone. We
Yes.
got you. If you need us, we got you.
A
Do
shout
not
out to
feel
your
hopeless.
viewers. A shout out to your viewers. They were really
Yeah.
engaged and they made, they gave comments and asked questions and stuff.
Very
So
good.
shout
Yes.
out to your viewers. That was great.
Yes, thank you so
Mhm.
much. Conversations with Selena community. We growing.
Yes.
All right. Did anyone have any closing remarks?
Mm.
Be true to yourself.
Be true to yourself. That's a good one. Be beautiful. I love that. Be beautiful.
That's good.
All right, Vinny, you want to pray us on up out?
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you,
Dear
ma'am.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for
Yes, Lord.
Yes,
such a
Lord.
great quorum on tonight, oh God. We thank you for all of those that are on the panel, but most of all, God, we thank you for all the listeners
Yes, Lord.
that are listening to this. God, give them hope. Let them know, God, that you're there for them, God, even in their darkest hour. Let them know, God, that you love them right where they are,
Yes.
that God, you would accept them, that you would wrap your arms around them, that you would be there for them, God, that you would pick them up, God, even at their lowest points of their lives.
Yes.
God,
Yes.
let them know that no matter where they are, they still belong to you.
Yes.
God, and we thank you for it right now. We thank you for the unconditional love that you've shown to each and every one of us, God. Now, God, we ask that you would, under the sound of our voice, God, touch every mind, touch
Yes.
every person, God. Let them know, God, that they are someone and that they're loved, they're needed, and they're wanted. And God, we'll give you that glory
Oh,
and
yes.
all the honor and the praise. And God, we give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 All
Woo,
Amen.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Love
Yes.
y'all.
Bye,
Love y'all.
everybody.
love you
Y'all
Bye,
have
ladies.
a
baby.
wonderful
Bye,
night, and
baby.
I will share your phone numbers.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All righty.
Thank
Thank
you. Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Good
Mwah.
Good
night.
night.